Hello guys, welcome to the ExamRat. So let's start with a new chapter, chapter number 8, Quadrilaterals. Okay, so it belongs to unit number 4, Geometry itself. Before begin with the chapter, I would like to say that please go through our website and have a look. You will also getting the PDF notes there. So just subscribe and go through our website. Okay, so let's start with our new chapter, that is chapter number 8, quadrilaterals. Okay, so people, basically what is a quadrilateral is, so in this chapter we are going to study certain things about this term quadrilateral, and we are also going to study about these certain theorems related to this term quadrilaterals. So before going forward, I would like to tell you something about quadrilaterals, that what the quadrilateral exactly mean. Okay, so basically you have been through the term that what is a triangle, what is a square, what is a rectangle in your earlier classes. You have been through these words. Okay, so basically the quadrilateral is any figure, it is any shape or any figure having four sides. Okay, any shape or any figure. Now you can say that square has the four sides, so square is a quadrilateral. Similarly, rectangle has the four sides, so rectangle is also a quadrilateral. And the rhombus is also the four sides, so the rhombus is also considered as the quadrilateral. So this is what the meaning of quadrilateral is, that quadrilateral is any figure having four sides. Any shape having four sides is termed as the quadrilateral, as the name suggests, quadrilateral. This quad is something which stands for four, having four sides. This is called as quadrilateral, right? You can say here you can see here that there are certain figures given in this quadrilateral family, and all the figures have at least four sides. They have four sides, so we have four sides, four vertices and four angles. That is what we called as the quadrilateral. Okay, so let's just begin that what is a quadrilateral and what are the types of quadrilaterals that you have to study in your class 9th or standard 9th. Okay, so before beginning with that, we have to just know the definition of quadrilateral. Quadrilateral is any polygon. Polygon is basically any shape having more than two sides. Yeah, so polygon is a shape with the four sides. 360-degree is the sum of interior angle of any convex quadrilateral. What does that means? As I told you that quadrilaterals, the quad means four, so it has four sides. That is why any polygon having four sides is termed as the quadrilaterals. Then the interior angle sum of the quadrilateral is equals to 360-degree. What is that means? So basically in the chapter triangles, I told you about the angle sum property of the triangle, that the sum of all the angles in a triangle is equals to 180-degree. Similarly, the angle sum property, or the sum of all the angles of the quadrilateral, any quadrilateral you can consider here, either it be a rectangle or it be a square or it can be a rhombus, the sum of all the angles of quadrilateral is 360 degrees. Clear? So let's now move forward towards the types of quadrilateral. Basically the six types of quadrilaterals are given here. First is a square, then is a rectangle, then a parallelogram, trapezoid, or we can call it a trapezium, rhombus, and a kite. So in our syllabus the kite is not there, we can't learn about the kite here. We learn a little bit about the trapezium and little bit about rhombus and more about the square, parallelogram and rectangle thing. So basically if you can see here in the figure, you can see certain things written over every picture. So these are basic properties of these particular quadrilateral. So you can see here that each of the figure has four sides, that is why they are termed as the quadrilaterals, right? So there are properties of each quadrilateral are different from each other. So let's consider square. Okay, so in term of the square, basically all the sides of the square are equal. You learned in your earlier classes that all the sides of the square are always equal. Then the angle of the all the angles of the square is equals to 90 degree, right? So basically according to this, The sum of all angle must be equals to 360. So there are 4 angles in case of square, and every angle measures 90 degree. This gives the sum of 360 degree. It means that this particular statement, that the sum of all the interior angles of a quadrilateral is 360, is true. And I'll also prove you this thing in the next slide or other slides. Okay, let's move to the another one. Rectangle. Rectangle has all the angles equals to 90 degree, but the opposite sides are equal. For example, let's say this is the rectangle. So in this case, AB will be equals to CD and AD is equals to BC, right? Now this is a parallelogram. In case of parallelogram, the opposite angles are equal, the opposite sides are equal, the opposite sides are parallel also. Okay, so we can say that AB is equals to CD and AB is also parallel to CD. Similarly, AD is equals to BC and AD is also parallel to BC. You can just name it as ABCD like that only. Then our next term is a trapezium. You don't have to learn more things about the trapezium, but yes, a little bit of knowledge is beneficial. So basically this is a trapezium. This is something trapezium shaped. In case of trapezium, two sides are parallel. That means AB is parallel to CD, whereas AD is not parallel to BC. The two of sides are non-parallel and two sides are parallel. This is we called as the trapezium. Then the rhombus. Rhombus is basically the diamond shaped structure, and in the case of rhombus, all the sides are equal and the opposite sides are parallel. Parallel are opposite sides, but equal are all the sides. Like the measurement of each side is equal, but the parallelism between the sides, they are opposite. For example, AB is parallel to CD and AD is parallel to BC, but AB is equals to BC is equals to CD is equals to AD. This is what we called as a rhombus, right? This is a kite. This is not mentioned in your syllabus, but you just have to know little things about this and it will help you in your future too, right? So the adjacent pair of these sides are equal. Basically these are the adjacent pairs which are present subsequently or corresponding to the next side. Adjacent means, for example, this is a side, so adjacent means the side present just beside this particular side. So the side present just beside this particular side is this one. So both of these, they are adjacent to each other, right? So basically the two adjacent sides, they are equal to each other. This is the types of quadrilateral, and the main you have to know about quadrilateral is that in the case of parallelogram, all the opposite sides are equal and parallel. In the case of square, all the angles are 90 and all the sides are equal. In the case of rectangle, all the opposite sides are equal and all the angles are 90 degree. In the case of rhombus, basically all these sides are equal to each other, right? And in the case of trapezium, opposite sides, basically the two sides, they are parallel to each other. These are the four types of the quadrilateral that we are going to study in this particular chapter. Okay, they are little, basically we don't have to study particularly about these quadrilateral. What we have to study is basically the questions will be depending upon the properties of these quadrilaterals. That is why it is very important to know about the properties. So these are the common properties of any quadrilateral. Okay, basically a square is a rectangle and also a rhombus. Okay, so what is a square? A square has a 90-degree angle. A square has all the sides equal. Okay, a square can be a rectangle because in the case of rectangle, opposite sides are equal. In the case of square also, opposite sides are equal. In the case of rectangle, 90 degrees there. In the case of square is also, it is also a rhombus because in the case of rhombus, all the sides are equals to each other and all the sides are like equal to each other. That is why a square can be a rectangle and a rhombus too. Square, rectangle, rhombus, all of these are parallelograms. Then a parallelogram is a trapezium because what is trapezium? Trapezium is basically something having two parallel sides. So parallelogram has also a parallel side. Kite is not a parallelogram. Why? Because in the case of kite, two adjacent sides are equal, but in the case of parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. Trapezium is not a parallelogram because in case of trapezium, both the only one pair is parallel and another pair is non-parallel, whereas in case of parallelogram both the opposite pairs are parallel to each other. A rectangle or a rhombus is not square. Why? Because in the case of rectangle only all the opposite sides are equals to each other, but in the case of square all the sides are equals to each other. This is not something you have to study, this is just to know more about the properties of quadrilaterals. This is basically to know about the properties of quadrilaterals, so you people could have a better understanding about that what is a parallelogram, what is a square, they can be interlinked with each other and how. So this is let's just leave that and we can have a look here on the angle sum property of the quadrilateral. Basically I told you that there will be a proof will be given about the angle sum property, that why the sum of the angles or interior angle is of the quadrilateral is equals to 360 degrees. So this is the proof here. What you have to do, I told you that all the chapters in mathematics are interlinked, so you just have to apply that thing. Okay, so basically in triangle ADC, angle D plus angle DAC plus angle DCA is equals to 180 degree, right? Let it be equation number 1. Now in triangle ABC, angle B plus angle BAC plus angle BCA equals to 180 degree by the angle sum property of a triangle. Now what we have to do is we just have to add equation 1 and equation 2. We'll get angle B plus angle D. By adding both of these terms we'll get angle C plus angle A equals to 180 plus 180 equals to 360 degree. So basically the two triangles, they form a quadrilateral, right? The two triangles, they form quadrilateral. So basically the sum of all the interior angle of the quadrilateral is equals to 360 degree. You can have a look on this picture too. This picture depicts the same thing as I show you here. Okay, so this is what we called as the angle sum property. Basically the sum of all the angles of a quadrilateral is equals to 360 degree. I can just write it here, that sum of all the angles of the quadrilateral is equals to 360 degree. That's all with the angle sum property of this particular theorem. Okay, so let's just now move forward towards the another theorem, that is first of all we will move towards the theorems. As you know, the geometry is full of the theorem, because it told you that how to do something, how to solve something, how to show something. That is why we are going to have our first theorem of this chapter, quadrilateral. So our first theorem is a diagonal of the parallelogram divided into two congruent triangles. Okay, so basically this is a quadrilateral. In case of quadrilateral, opposite sides are parallel to each other, right? This is a quadrilateral. These are the sides which are parallel to each other. I'm just showing you certain examples so that you people could know that these theorems are actually true, right? So basically AB is parallel to CD. Basically BD is a transversal. Am I right? Okay, so what we are going to do is we just have to take the true triangles. In this, the angle 1 is equals to angle 2. Why? Because if it is a parallel lines and if it is a transversal, then of course it is the alternate interior angles. Similarly, angle 3 is equals to angle 4. Similar reason that they are alternate interior angles. Then BD is the ray or the transversal which is common. So by ASA, triangle ABD will be congruent to triangle BCD. Am I right? So basically this is the theorem 1, that a diagonal of the parallelogram divided into two congruent triangles. What is a diagonal? Basically look at this. This is a picture. This is a parallelogram, rectangle, anything. anything which is drawn between the opposite vertices of the particular figure, it is known as the diagonal. Right, anything which is drawn to join the opposite vertices of any quadrilateral will be called as the diagonal. So BD is the diagonal in this case, and basically the diagonal of the parallelogram, they divide it into two congruent triangles, hence proved. Right, the second theorem for this chapter is, in a parallelogram opposite sides are equal. Okay, so basically what this theorem suggests is, this is a parallelogram, let this be A, B, C, D. Basically AB will be equals to CD and AD will be equals to BC. Then you people will ask, then why the parallelogram is not equal to the rectangle? It is because in case of parallelogram, the angle, all the angle is not equals to 90 degree, whereas in the case of rectangle, all the angles are 90 degree. Right, now the third theorem is that if each pair of the opposite sides of quadrilateral are equal, then it's a parallelogram. Basically theorem 8.3 is the converse of 8.2 theorem. Okay, this is the converse of 8.2. It suggests that if any opposite sides of a quadrilateral are equal, then it can be considered as a parallelogram. Right, in a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal. These are the opposite angles, so these opposite angles are equal to each other in the case of parallelogram. So basically these are some theorems which are related to the parallelogram, and these are also the properties of parallelogram. You can count them as the properties of parallelogram, that the diagonal divides the parallelogram into the two congruent triangles, then the opposite sides are equal. If the opposite sides are equal, then it is a parallelogram, and the opposite angles are also equal. Right, let's now move forward towards our another theorem, that is theorem 8.5. Right, so what is our theorem 8.5 is, in a quadrilateral each pair of opposite angle are equal, then it is a parallelogram. Basically theorem 8.5 is the converse of theorem 8.4. Basically they are the converse of each other. Now let's move forward towards the another theorem, that is the diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other. What do you mean by bisection, and what do you mean by that they bisect each other? Let this picture be a parallelogram ABCD. This is a diagonal BD, and this can also be a diagonal AC. Okay, so O is the point where both of these diagonals meet. According to this theorem, the diagonals of the parallelogram bisect each other. It means DO is equals to BO and AO is equals to OC. This is what meant by the theorem 8.6, that they basically bisects. What do you mean by bisects? Dividing into equal parts. This is the meaning of bisection. Right, so let's now move forward towards the another theorem, that is theorem 8.7. Right, so what is theorem 8.7? So basically our next theorem is theorem number 8.7. Right, so what is the theorem 8.7 suggest is that if a diagonal of a quadrilateral bisect each other, basically theorem 8.7 is the converse of theorem 8.6. Half of the theorems are basically the converse of each other. That if for example in the theorem like 8.5 it is mentioned that quadrilateral each pair of the opposite angles are equal, then it is a parallelogram. Okay, so in theorem 8.6 it was mentioned that in case of parallelogram diagonals bisect each other. Basically a theorem 8.7 is basically the converse of this 8.6, that if the diagonals of a quadrilateral bisect each other, that means they are parallelogram. Right, now move ahead with the theorem number 8.8. So what does the theorem 8.8 suggest is that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram if the pair of opposite side is equal and parallel. Like this is the property which I have told you in the earlier slides, that a parallelogram, this is a parallelogram, that's how I am writing a parallelogram, that Okay, so a parallelogram, the pair of opposite sides and are equal and parallel, right? This is what we called as theorem 8.8. So basically let's have a quick revision about these theorems. That theorem 8.1, what is theorem 8.1 suggest? It suggests that the diagonal of a parallelogram divide into two congruent triangles. Then theorem 8.2 says that in the parallelogram two opposite sides are equal. Then theorem 8.3 is just the converse of theorem 8.2, which suggests that if the pair of the sides are opposite sides are equal, then it is a parallelogram. Then 8.4 says that if the opposite angles are equal in a parallelogram. 8.5 says that if opposite angles are equal, then it is a parallelogram. Then 8.6 says the diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other. 8.7 is basically the converse of 8.6, that when the quadrilaterals diagonal bisect each other, then they are considered as the parallelogram. And 8.8 says that in a quadrilateral, if the opposite sides are equal in parallel, then it is considered as the parallelogram. So let's move to the next slide, that is another two theorems. These are the last two theorems for this chapter, quadrilaterals. But these theorems are like called as the midpoint theorems, and they are very important theorem for this chapter, right? A line segment joining the midpoint of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side. Basically, let's suppose this is the line, this is the triangle. So this says the line segment joining the midpoint of two sides. This is the midpoint, this is the midpoint. This is A, B, C. Let these midpoints be E and F. Okay, so this is the line segment EF forming. It is parallel to the third side. So it says, let it extend to, so EF is parallel to BC, or we can say that ED is parallel to BC. This, why this is called as a midpoint theorem? This is called as midpoint theorem because in this case the line which is parallel to the third side of the triangle is formed by the midpoints of the other two sides. That is why it is known as the midpoint theorem. Now 8.10 is basically just the converse of the midpoint theorem. The line drawn through the midpoint of one side of the triangle parallel to another side bisect the third side. Okay, so basically what this theorem say is the line drawn through the midpoint of one side of the triangle. When we draw the line which is from the one side of this, they bisect the third side. So this says that if according to this 8.10, for example, this is the triangle ABC. This is the midpoint of ABD. This is not a midpoint. There is a line formed, something which is called as E, and this is the point where it marks. This is F. So basically DE is parallel to BC is given, and AD is equals to DB is also given, right? So according to this theorem, when the side formed by the midpoint of one side is parallel to the third side, then it bisects the second side. It means from this theorem AF will be equals to FC. This is basically the converse of this theorem. So basically theorem 8.10 is the converse of theorem 8.9, right? So this is what we called as the midpoint theorem. Okay, so I'm saying that basically the theorem 8.10 is just the converse of theorem 8.9, and both of them, they are known as the midpoint theorems. Am I right? So before beginning with that, let's just move to the questions of each theorem so that you can have a better understanding that how the questions of this theorem can be solved, right? So let's move to the questions here, that how the questions can be solved. Okay, so our first question is, show that if the diagonals of quadrilateral bisect each other at right angle. This is the quadrilateral, this is the given figure. Basically the opposites end, these are the diagonals, they bisect each other at right angle. It means like this, they are bisecting each other, right? Then we have to show that this particular picture is a rhombus. Okay, so how we are going to show this particular thing? Let ABC be any quadrilateral. This one is given. So basically what is given is, since it is bisecting each other at right angle, AO will be equals to OC, OB is equals to OD, and all the angle AOD, angle AOB, angle BOC and angle COD, right, they will be equals to 90 degree, right. So what is the proof? In triangle AOB and in triangle COB, so this is the particular AOB and this is COB, you can say that basically OA is equals to OC, that is already given, right. Both of these angles are equal because they are 90 degree and this side is common. So by SAS congruency rule we can say that triangle AOB is congruent to triangle COB. Am I right? So basically by that we can say that by CPCT AB is equals to BC. Similarly we can take the other two triangles BOC and triangle COD. Okay, so I'm just telling that how I have proved that both of these triangles are congruent to each other. And you can just write similarly, you can make all the triangles congruent to each other and all the sides equal to each other, and hence it will be a rhombus, right. So in triangle AOB and BOC, AO is equals to OC, that's already given, right. Now angle AOB is equals to angle BOC, that is also given, right. Now OB is equals to OB. Why so? Because it is a common side. So triangle AOB will be congruent to triangle BOC. By CPCT we can say that AB is equals to BC. Similarly, by proving other triangles congruent, we can say that AB is equals to BC is equals to CD is equals to AD. Hence, it is a rhombus. Am I right? Let's move forward towards the next question, that is other questions. So first of all, let's begin with question number 1, that is the angles of quadrilateral are in this ratio, find the angles of quadrilateral. This is very easy. You know, by angle sum property you can just let the ratio be x. By angle sum property you can say that the sum of all the angles of quadrilateral is equals to 360 degree. So by this you can say like 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 9, 17 plus 13 is basically 30. X equals to 360 degree, and you can find out the x equals to 12, right. X is equals to 12. So the first angle is 36 degree, second is 60 degree, third is 108 degrees, and the last angle is 156 degrees. Like this you have to solve the question. In case of queries you can just comment below. Okay, so question number 2 is if the diagonals of parallelogram are equal then show it is a rectangle. Okay, so basically we have to show that it is a rectangle, and for that we have to prove that every angle of this rectangle is equals to 90 degree. Okay, so for that first of all in triangle ABC, this is the given triangle ABC and this is the triangle BAD. In this triangle, in this particular triangle, basically BC is equals to AD because it is a parallelogram. In case of parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. Okay, and in the case of parallelogram, basically the diagonals, they are also equal, and we can also say that AB is equals to AB because it is common to each other, right. So by this all the sides they become equals to each other. So since all the sides are equal to each other, by SSS congruency rule we can say that basically the triangle ABD is congruent to triangle BAC, right. So by this we can say that by CPCT angle ABC is equals to angle DAB, right. Now we know that in case of any angle, in the case of quadrilateral or in the case of like parallel lines which are cut by the transversal, the sum of the adjacent or co-interior angle is equals to 180 degree. So basically the sum of DAB plus angle CBA will be equals to 180. We know that both of them are equal to each other, so we can put it, let 2 of DAB is equals to 180 or angle DAB equals to 90 degree. By this we can prove that this particular parallelogram is a rectangle, right. Now the next question is, show that if the diagonals of a quadrilateral bisect each other at right angle, then it is a rhombus. So basically this is the these are the diagonals, they bisect each other at right angle, it means these are the things, and this is they are equal, so we have to say that it is a rhombus. So this is the same question I told you in the earlier slide, that we have to just prove these two adjacent triangles as congruent, and by CPCT you will be able to prove that all the sides are equal to each other. Okay, by CPCT we just have to prove that AB is equals to BC is equals to A is equals to CD is equals to AD, right? Then we can say that it is a rhombus. Okay, let's move to the next question. So our next question is basically question number another. So basically the ABCD is a trapezium in this particular question. This is a trapezium, right? ABCD is a trapezium in which AB is parallel to CD and AD is given equals to BC. This is given. Now extend AB and draw the line. Basically you have to extend the AB, you have to draw a line C through C which is parallel to AD. You have to draw the line which is parallel to AD. So like this you can draw the line parallel to AD and mark it as E. Right, now AD is parallel to EC, and it is already given that AB is parallel to CD. Okay, so what we have to do is basically in this particular ADCE, since AD is also parallel to CE and AB is parallel to CD, that is why we can say that ADCE is a parallelogram. Am I right? Why it is a parallelogram? Because both the opposite pairs of the sides, they are parallel to each other. That is why we can consider it is as the parallelogram. Now in this case, if it is a parallelogram, so AD will be equals to CE, right? And DC will be equals to AE, right? DC will be equals to AE. Okay, so now what we have to do is, but AD is equals to BC is already given. It means BC is also equals to EC, right? So basically if BC is equals to EC, it means that this particular angle A and this particular angle E will equals to 180 degree, because the sum of the angle present on the co-interior angle present on the same side of the transversal, it always equals to the 180 degree. So angle E plus angle E will be equals to 180 degree. Am I right? So basically by that we can say that angle E is equals to 180 degree minus angle A. Right, now ABC is equals to 180 minus CBE. ABC is this angle and CBE is this angle. Why it is so? Because they form a linear pair. Right, you can just put the value of CBE from the above equation and you can write 180 minus this. Okay, now angle B will be equal to angle A. So basically like this we can just prove that this angle B is equals to angle A. Am I right? Now in the next part we have to know that angle A plus angle D is equals to 180, because the similar thing was there, that the sum of the angles, interior angle present on the same side of the transversal, sum of the angles present on same side of transversal is equals to 180 degree. Okay, so you can just put it there. Now angle D will be 180 minus A. Since angle A is equals to angle B, we can write it as angle D equals to 180 minus B. Right, similarly angle B plus C is 180. Similar reason, that sum of all the angles present on the same side of transversal is 180. From equation second and third we get that C is equals to D. Right, now in triangle ABC, now there is a triangle formed ABC and there is a triangle formed BAD. So in this particular triangle, this AB is equals to BA, because it is a common in both of them. Okay, now we can see that AD is equals to BC, that is already we have proved. Right, now angle A is equals to angle B. We have proved here that angle A is equals to angle B. So by this, both of these, they are congruent to each other, and since they are congruent to each other, by CP/CT we can say that AC is equals to BD. We have proved that in trapezium both the diagonals are equal to each other. In trapezium the diagonals are equal to each other. Am I right? Okay, let's move ahead with our next question, that is question number 5. So basically in a parallelogram, ABCD is a parallelogram, and E and F are the 2 points which are the midpoint of side AB and CD respectively. Show that line segment AF, this is the line segment AF, and this is the line segment EC, they trisect the diagonal BD. So we have to prove that PD is equals to PQ is equals to QB. This is we have to prove, because trisect means they are dividing them into 3 equal things. Okay, so here it is a proof that ABCD is a parallelogram, so AB will be parallel to CD. So basically AE will also be parallel to EFC. Okay, now AE is parallel to FC, since AB is also equals to CD, because the opposite side of the parallelograms are always equal. So half of AB will always be equal to half of CD. That is why, and we are already given that F and E, they are the midpoint of AB and CD. So that is why AE will be also parallel to EC, FC, and AF will all basically half of AB is equals to half of CD. So this AE will be equals to this FC, and this AE is already parallel to the FC. So that is why AECF is also a parallelogram, because in this case opposite sides are equal as well as parallel. So now in triangle DQC, you have to see triangle DQC. This is the triangle DQC. Am I right? In this particular triangle, F is the midpoint. Okay, F is the midpoint, and we already know that FP is parallel to CQ, as AF is parallel to EC, so FP is also parallel to CQ. By the converse of midpoint theorem, we can say that P is also the midpoint of DQ. It means P is the midpoint of DQ. It means DP is equals to PQ. Similarly, we can take this triangle. In this particular triangle, E is the midpoint, and since this is parallel to this, so Q will be the midpoint of this PB, right? So this PQ will also equals to QB. So by equation 1 and equation 2, we can say that dp is equals to pq is equals to qb. You can see here that these questions are very easy. You can very easily solve them. You can just have a look here. Okay, now let's move ahead with the last question of this chapter. So abcd is a trapezium with ab is parallel to dc. Okay, now bd is a diagonal and e is the midpoint. E is the midpoint of ad. A line is drawn through E which is parallel to AB, and it intersecting the BC at F. Basically this is the line which is drawn which intersect the BC. Basically this is BC at point F. Okay, now show that F is the midpoint of BC. How we are going to show that is, okay, this is very easy. We have to, if we have to show like something is a midpoint of something, then what can be done is, it can be done by the help of converse of midpoint theorem, which says that if any line is drawn from the midpoint of one side of triangle, and that line is parallel to the second side, then it bisects the third side. Okay, so by converse of midpoint theorem, we can say that let db intersect ef at g. Okay, this is the db intersect at g. Okay, in triangle dab, e is the, this is a triangle dab, e is the midpoint, and we know that by eg is also parallel to ab. So by converse of midpoint theorem, g is also the midpoint of BD. Am I right? So it means that DG will be equals to GB. Okay, similarly what we have to do is, now we have to prove that this is the midpoint of this. So in triangle PCD, G is the midpoint and GF is parallel to CD. Am I right? So basically by converse of midpoint theorem, F will be the midpoint of BC. This is all. These are the questions which are related to the midpoint theorem, and basically the midpoint theorem is the most important thing we have to study in this particular chapter, right? So in the next slide I have given you some kind of like revision for the revision purpose. These are the assessments for the revision purpose. What you have to do is you just have to like revise them, that what they are. Okay, so basically properties of the rhombus, right? The properties of rhombus is that all the four sides of rhombus are equal to each other, opposite sides are parallel to each other, opposite angles are equals to each other, diagonals they are perpendicular. Okay, because why? Because diagonal they bisect each other at right angles, and adjacent angles their sum is equals to 180 degrees. Now these are the properties of the parallelogram. So in the case of parallelogram, the diagonal in the parallelogram they divide into two congruent triangles, opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel, opposite angles are equal, and diagonals bisect each other. Here it is not bisect at right angle. Okay, they just bisect each other. So what is the difference between the two? In the case of rhombus, they dissect each other at right angle, so these are 90 degree, right? In the case of parallelogram, they just bisect each other, they are not equal to 90 degree. Okay, this is the difference between the rhombus and the parallelogram. Now next is this slide for the revision purpose. These are the properties of a square and the rectangles. I have mentioned only the important properties here. So square is a rectangle and a rhombus too. Basically a square, the diagonal of squares are congruent. Each diagonal of the square bisect each other at opposite angles, and the diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, now rectangle, opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary. What do you mean by supplementary thing? I already told you in my last chapters or in my earlier sessions that supplementary means when the sum of the angles is equal to 180 degrees, right? And what do you mean by the another term complementary? When the sum of the angles is equals to 90 degree, right? Diagonals bisect each other. So that's all with the chapter quadrilaterals. I hope you people enjoyed learning about the quadrilaterals and about the quadrilaterals. In the next session we'll learn about the circles, okay, and the construction part 2. So for today it's done. So this is what we meant by the quadrilaterals, the types of quadrilaterals, the properties of quadrilaterals, the theorems of quadrilaterals. Okay, so by thank you. I hope you people could better understand these things. Thank you.